Hi, I'm Sean, the Modern Yeoman, and one of the things that I've learned in my short time here on the homestead is that there's always something that needs to be done. There's always something, and it's usually urgent. Well, this morning I woke up and looked outside, and it's kind of a dreary day, cold, foggy, and I thought to myself, you know, maybe today I just kind of take it easy and work on indoor projects. Well, that was a tempting thought, and I did consider it until one word popped into my mind, and that word is mulch. If you've been following my channel, then you know that we've got a pretty big kitchen garden planned for this spring. I've already covered quite a bit of land here on our home acre with this silage tarp, and already I've built 13 of these large raised garden beds. We'll be doing most of our gardening in these raised beds, but all the surrounding garden space will still need to be maintained and kept clear of grass and weeds. One of the best mediums for controlling grass and weeds in a garden space is good old-fashioned wood mulch. So that's what we decided that we're going to do here. Any space that isn't occupied by one of these raised beds will be covered with mulch. Luckily, we've got a lot of wood that we can use for mulch. I've been gathering it here in this pile that I'm saving for when we rent a wood chipper. Anything that can't go through the chipper, I'll just burn away in a bonfire. But even though this looks like a lot of wood, I wonder, will it be enough? So that's when the idea struck me that I can just use some of the fallen trees in our forest for mulch. Take these trees, for example, behind me. Not only will they provide me a lot of wood, but by getting rid of them, I'll have a lot of my forest back. I don't know if you can see it here, but they're actually blocking one of our main paths back in the woods. And by clearing them out of here, I won't have to go all the way around to get from here to there. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. My dad actually has an electric chainsaw here on the homestead that I'll be using. And although I'd prefer a gas model that I didn't have to plug in, free is free, and I want to get to work. Although it is kind of ironic because I will need to bring a generator down here, so I'll be using gas regardless. Oh well, I want to get to work. Let's go. All right, so taking a closer look at the situation here, I don't think I'm going to try and get this top tree today. Because of the angle and the heights involved, I don't think that's something I can handle on my own. So I'm going to focus on this bottom tree and all these branches behind me. Ideally, by the end of this video, I've cleared all of those out so I can walk through this area unimpeded. Let's give it a shot. Let's go. All right, so phase one of the project is done. I've cut all the wood that I wanted to cut today, and I can even see daylight through this passage here, which is pretty incredible for me since I haven't been able to see this path open since we moved onto the property. Also, we got a lot of really good wood. This tree that was down was apparently a cedar, and if you could smell this right now, you would be enchanted, I'm sure. Check out the red inside the middle of this log. This mulch is going to be very pleasant smelling. Anyways, it's on to phase 2, which is cleaning up all the logs and the brush and the wood, which is probably going to take a lot longer and be a lot less fun than the cutting. Real quick, as I take a break, I wanted to give you guys a couple little mini updates. The first one is that I've cleaned out my little woodshed here for a couple of reasons. I've got some plans that I'm thinking about for the future. Number 2, I wanted to consolidate all of my wood up on my new lumber racks up in the hayloft. I actually installed a couple more racks up there and just moved all that wood up there so it's all in one place. Another egg. The second update is about a rooster friend, Fighter. In the past few weeks actually, he's developed a interesting little head movement, kind of like a Stevie Wonder little S-shaped movement like that. I'll try and get it on video. I may not be able to capture him doing it because he only does it occasionally. But it does have me a little bit concerned. I've read online that that little head wobble could be anything from mites in the ear to just something that roosters do as kind of performance art to attract their lady friends. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, but in the meantime, it is something that I'm a little bit concerned about. None of the other chickens are doing it, and he seems to be fine. He's scratching and crowing and eating and mating with his usual enthusiasm and gusto. So I'm going to keep an eye on it regardless. Anyways, back to the time lapse. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm really happy with what I was able to accomplish here in just a matter of a few hours for 2 reasons. Number 1, I got a lot of wood that I can use for garden mulch, very fragrant cedar that's going to smell great there in the garden. And number 2, I cleared out a lot of room here in my forest. This morning, this area right here was just an impenetrable thicket of bramble and dead wood, but now it's a very pleasant little walkway that I can walk through and drive little tractors and stuff through as well. Anyways, it looks like I'd better start cleaning up, but before I do, a quick announcement. A couple of folks have asked about ways that they can get in contact with me other than just the comments below, and there's actually 2 different methods that you can reach out to us here at The Modern Yeoman. The first one is our email address, themodernyeoman@gmail.com, and the second is our P.O. box that I'm listing here on the screen. Whether you have questions, comments, or criticisms, don't hesitate to reach out. We do love to hear from you guys. Anyways, until next time, let's get busy.